Today on entitled Parents. Entitled Mother attacks me for taking her baby to jail for trying to kidnap me. Before we start, yes, this is real and happened to me. I had posted this on a different account before, but it got taken down for the account being new. For context, this happened over a year ago and some details may be a little fuzzy. I will not be giving much details about anything but the story for privacy reasons. I don't need this in my life any more than necessary, and the family of the mom and son doesn't deserve any worse than they already have. I'm here because I was talking to my therapist the day before writing this and Reddit got brought up. They said that maybe it would help with some of the lingering effects from this if I tell my story and just let it out, so here I go. Starting off, I was with my boyfriend on a Saturday night, just having a date night. It all was going well till at some point my boyfriend went to the bathroom and this random guy came over to me. The conversation goes as followed. Him: what's someone like you doing with that slut? Me: dumbfounded. Excuse me, what did you say? Him: you heard me, now why don't you come with me? He points to his table with some other guy. Now this place has a specific bar area where his table was, so I just thought he was drunk and brushed off the insults with him having too much to drink. Me: I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go over there, I'm content here. Now it'd been a couple minutes and my boyfriend is coming back, and once the other guy that I'll just call him Bill, completely random by the way. He asks who Bill was and I just brushed it off as a drunk and nothing important. I couldn't have been more wrong. When we left. We live on the outskirts of town for the cheap houses. Because of this, we were in walking distance of the restaurant. So we walk, obviously. On our way home, Bill and his friend jump us. His friend tackled my boyfriend, making him to focus on trying to break free, while Bill grabs me by the arm and is dragging me. I'm 5'1" and pretty skinny, and this guy is defiantly over 6 foot, and had some muscles, not crazy or anything but enough to completely take control over me. And he does very well, being able to drag me while keeping me from breaking free. Once the shock of the situation was over, I started yelling for help. He got me just around the corner before one of my neighbors, we will call him Chase. He heard the yelling and came running. Not just 4 steps around the corner, Bill starts slowing down as Chase just slammed this guy to the ground, unluckily taking me down too, so I can safely say it hurt. Chase was able to keep the guy down while the cops came from being called by someone else, I don't know who it was. When the cops got there, everyone except me was put in cuffs until I got the story about what happened with my boyfriend and Chase, and they were let free. At this point, we were too tired to give statements at the station and everything right then, so we waited till the next day, where we also got some cameras. That will be important later. Now on that Sunday, we gave our statements and cameras up on both doors in the living room and kitchen facing the doors. We also started looking for the lucky lawyer, about to make some easy money as the restaurant got most of it on footage, so going to the next day. Here is where the entitled mother shows up at my house at 1 in the afternoon. My boyfriend was at work and I was on vacation to distress for the week. So after the second time knocking, I slowly opened the door, making sure to leave the chain on to keep the door from opening too far. You all should know what I'm talking about. But sadly, with a cheap house comes with cheap locks, and this crazy lady slams on the door, knocking me down and breaking off the terrible lock. This lady proceeds to start attacking me, trying to punch me and scratch me, saying, "You effing put my baby in jail for no reason. Tell them you lied. You better pay his bail, you B-word." And this went on for a couple minutes before I got a good hit on her, knocking her off to the side, and when she tried to hit me again, I was able to dodge this and I slam her into a wall. Now she starts yelling about calling the cops and getting me arrested for assaulting her. By now the cops were already pulling up cause when my boyfriend saw this B-word break in through the doorbell cam, he called them. And when they saw this lady that said she just was trying to talk to me, I just attacked her. With what happened after her date with the wall, it looked as she was the one that was attacked. So I was put in cuffs in a car while they talked to her. Now as they're talking, my boyfriend finally pulls up after rushing out of work. He told me the conversation went something like as followed. Yeah, he just started attacking, talking to the cop. Boyfriend: what is happening? Cop: do you live? Cuts him off. The F you want? Yes, I asked, and she actually said this. Cop: please let me talk. Now do you live here? Scoffs to this. Boyfriend: yes, and I want to know why this B-word is standing here while he is, pointing towards me, is in there. There is now another cop that takes the to another spot nearby, but not without her screaming at him for calling her a B-word. And the first cop tells my boyfriend what they had heard. After that, my boyfriend says, "That's not true," and he can show the camera footage. I can even remember that moment, that when the heard camera, I could visibly see from the back of the car, her entire face goes so white I thought I would go blind. Once they saw what actually happened, I was out real quick while she was now the one in the back of a car. Thank God for both Chase and the cameras we got. I can't even think of what would happen if that wasn't the case. They both lost their cases and are still in jail as far as I know, but just writing some of this still makes me have panic attacks, but I do feel a lot better, and so hopefully I can get some good sleep soon. I'm sorry there's a lot to read, but I just wanted to tell the full story all in one go. For our next story. Father-in-law's girlfriend demands my debit card. So a while back, my father-in-law's truck broke down and he started giving my husband all his cards so we could shop for him and deliver it to him. Eventually, my father-in-law got a new girlfriend. She moved in with him immediately. She was homeless at the time. Everything had been fine until his girlfriend relapsed into alcoholism. At which point, my kids and I stopped going over there. Anyway, recently father-in-law got a new truck, and before we had the chance to take his cards back, or meet up to give them back, his girlfriend is texting us, harassing us, saying she's going to come pick up our debit card because we had theirs for so long, and if we expect them to trust us with theirs, then we should trust them too. Which no, that's not how it works. After a text message fight, my husband said he would only talk to his dad and not her anymore, and she imploded, demanding we give her our card. We blocked the number. So she texted us from father-in-law's phone to continue the fight, telling us she will come get our card and go shopping with it, saying she doesn't need our permission. If they are struggling and had asked politely, I'd be helping right now. But I'm not. My family is crazy. Our last story for today. Mom got arrested. A couple of weeks ago I wrote a post because my mom was harassing my sister Pam. This was because my sister finally cut off my mom and refused to give her money. So my mom told Pam a gigantic and stupid, easily debunked, lie to guilt Pam into sending her money. The lie caused a bit of drama with me and my sister, but we worked it out because again, it was a very stupid lie. After the truth came out, Pam finally went NC with Mom, just like I had done a while ago. Mom started harassing Pam, and even after Pam had blocked her number, Mom would find ways to contact her. She even showed up at the house Pam shares with her roommates. The police were absolutely useless and told Pam, and then myself, that there was nothing they could do until Mom threatened violence or became violent. The officer I talked to on the phone actually laughed when I mentioned getting a temporary restraining order. It was just an effing nightmare. So I took some advice from here and got Pam to change her number, and things kind of quieted down. That's when Mom started leaving letters in Pam's mailbox, just drunken ramblings, and so we called the police again, specifically after the third one. The officer they sent out was incredibly rude and told my sister, and I effing quote, if I had a daughter like you, I'd also be driven to drink. Before anyone asks, yes, we put in a complaint. No, nothing happened. After that, my husband and I sat down, worked out some bills, and contacted a lawyer. We don't know any personally, but I did have a coworker who got divorced last year, so I asked him for the number to the family law practice he hired. $150-ish later, I was able to send Mom an official quit your crap letter. And for the past 3 days, everything has been blissfully quiet. Then earlier tonight, which I guess technically is this morning, Sarah, my sister's best friend, called because Pam was too shaken up to talk. The police were at Sarah's house and my mom had been arrested. My husband and I hurried over, and by the time we got there, the police had already left with Mom. Pam was still crying and having a panic attack. Sarah and Heather were trying to calm her down. I'm just so effing angry thinking about it. The last time I saw Pam crying like that was when she had found out she was failing biology in 9th grade. She is a perfectionist, you know? I love her to death, but she's so scared of failing. I had come over and she was just sobbing over a stack of papers and miserable, and I don't know. I told myself she'd never cry again like that, but she did, and it was because of our mom, and I didn't stop it. Because Pam was too upset to talk, Sarah told us that they had been getting ready to go out for a late movie when my mom showed up. At first Pam told her to just go home. Then Mom started screaming at her and Pam sort of froze, and that's when Heather got involved and told my mom that she was going to call the police if she didn't leave. That seemed to work at first, and from what Sarah said, Mom kind of just wandered off down the street. Pam was shaken up, but it seemed to be over. Then they heard a loud crunching sort of noise from outside, and they looked, and Mom had driven over the neighbor's mailbox, which, to be honest, I didn't notice when I pulled up, but it was flattened. Heather immediately called the police, but I guess so had the neighbors. Then Sarah called us. The police came. Mom refused to do a sobriety test and they hauled her off. The worst part is, I'm not entirely sure they would have actually arrested her if the neighbors hadn't called too. It's kind of a quiet neighborhood, and the people directly next door seem to be in their 50s or so. Sarah said the husband came out to put in the complaint about the mailbox, and the police talked to them more than they talked to Pam, who was actually getting harassed. Because Pam was so shaken up, we brought her home with us. She thankfully passed out almost immediately, and then my husband fell asleep, but I can't sleep. I'm so angry. Mom could have hurt someone, and the police have done absolutely nothing up to this point. I'm sure we'll have more options now that she's been arrested. Maybe we can even get a restraining order, but if they had just listened to me weeks ago when Mom first started harassing Pam, none of this might have happened tonight. F her. Edited to add because I forgot to mention, I live about an hour away from my sister. When Sarah called, I had fallen asleep on the couch while my husband Ryan was playing video games. So by the time I got up, got dressed and drove over, nearly 2 hours had passed. And those are all the stories we have for today. See you tomorrow.